Every encampment support network neighborhood committee is just neighbors of people who live in encampments. So they don't have any background in outreach work necessarily, and in fact, the majority don't. People just want to make sure that the people in their neighborhood are being taken care of at the minimum level. There are a lot of artists in the ESN network. We tend to have lost our gigs. A lot of musicians who will not be gigging for a long time. And something that's great about artists and musicians is that we're quite used to a precarious existence in an economy where we actually don't get paid properly for the work that we're passionate about. So it's not that different to be, taking on a responsibility for the sheer belief that it's the right thing to do for a lot of people in the network. I think that you also find that musicians and artists are empathetic people. There are 5 neighborhood committees in the ESN network, and they're all volunteers who bring water, snacks, tents, sleeping bags, first aid kits, because there's not much medical support that comes through encampments. We do keep a tally of how much water we deliver a week, and a lot of our other supplies, and we report weekly in a donors newsletter, which anyone can sign up for to see what we're up to.
The ESN groups made it an effort on their own behalf to come, if not every day, almost every day.
What does it mean to you to have members of the community coming by to help you with supplies?
Well, in the midst of all this turmoil, COVID, and even before that, we make a community. So from this setup that we have here, we've made a community to the point where we have hand washing stations, we have locals delivering food, we have people checking on our well-being. So now it's going to have the regular person that isn't out in the house starting to ask questions. They're going to come around and investigate, right? Why is there so many tents? People tell them, and then they say, you know what? I got extra food in my house. That's usually how it starts. And then people start coming when they can. You get 7 people coming in once a week. All it has to be is on 7 different days, and now you're eating.
I have been touring, I'm a musician, so I've been touring for just over a decade. Right now, that is obviously A, not important considering the global implications, and B, just not happening. So I've found myself with a lot of extra time, and it's been great. A lot of people who are volunteering are musicians, so it's a lot of stuff we're used to. Unpaid work, lugging things around, talking to people. Last week, we did 88 cases of water, 56 cases of sport drink, 260 bags of ice. We talk to our neighbors, we form relationships, we check in on people who are not being checked in on, and it's very important work, and I'm glad to be doing it.
Omar, these guys,
I had been hearing about the work that ESN had been doing. I had time on my hands, so I started off just driving ice because I had a car and I wanted to use it for good. But as soon as I got here and started meeting some of the residents of the park and building friendships, I've now been coming about 3 to 4 times a week to hand out necessary supplies. It's really just a group of people who are committed to showing up every day and doing that. Especially during COVID, we've all been having a really hard time, and it's only even harder for those who don't have the basic necessities of life, like shelter and food and water. As a lot of people can probably attest to, that COVID made me appreciate those things, and I want everybody to have the same thing, and everybody really deserves that.
The group says they are filling a gap that isn't being met by the city. The city says in the last few months it's moved 760 people from encampments into safe spaces, and that teams from the city's Streets to Homes program will continue to assist people experiencing homelessness.